This is kind of like my favorite part of painting with it blurred like this is the eyes, like how much you can get away with painting these eyes, and you get away with a lot, and you should really try when you do, your regular portraits to paint them this way. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. My name is Chris Fornatero, and I'm here to help simplify oil painting so that you can get better faster. Today's painting is a really cool one. It's a fun exercise where I'm going to do a quick portrait sketch, but I'm going to be using a photo that I put into Photoshop and put a blur filter on it. And the reason I put this blur filter on it is to get rid of detail. I'm always talking about squinting your eyes, trying to see the big shape, compress values, compress shapes, and putting this filter on the photo is going to do exactly that. And it's actually going to make it impossible for you to paint detail because the details aren't going to be there. I find that this exercise is very helpful, especially for students that struggle to simplify, or they want to paint looser, or they find that they're outlining too many things, or being too tight. This is also a really good thing to think about when starting a portrait. You want to start out portraits more loose and with bigger shapes, and then find smaller shapes as you go and get things tighter as you can go. You can take the painting as tight as you want. That's up to you. But starting with big, simple shapes is going to make things a lot easier. Now, I put the filter on this photo through Photoshop. I actually use Photoshop quite a lot for painting purposes. They have a bunch of different kind of filters in there that I'll throw on photos from time to time just to get a better read of what's going on. A lot of times it kind of helped me see what's going on with the form. I by no means paint these exactly how I see them in the filters. I do not recommend that at all. I suggest using these as a guide to just help you see things differently. That's kind of like the main thing that this exercise is going to do. Is it's going to get you to see portrait painting differently, or at least I hope it does. I use Photoshop for a lot of things with painting. I'll use the color picker a lot to see what's happening with colors, or I'll rearrange a scene for a better composition and see what it looks like first, or put a different color background on a portrait to see, if that color will work with that portrait. I've got a lot of people asking me how'd you get the filter on the photo or make the photo look like that? Through Photoshop. I think it's worth the 20 bucks a month. It's like 5 Frappuccinos from Starbucks. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description below. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about the exercise and go do it. My palette, I got ivory black, ultramarine blue, cadmium red, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, titanium white. I'm gonna start just using some of this ivory black, cad red, draw this in. General shape of the head, go a little bit bigger. Eyes are somewhere around there, around halfway. Kind of figuring out where I see, this dark, warmish color. The fact that our photo is the way it is, this should be it shouldn't be easy, but it should be easier than if you're looking at the photo normal. All right, let's have a little fun here. And some of this blue. And I'm still kind of drawing right now. That's what kind of keeping this drawing loose is it allows me to draw with shapes. And always look to connect shapes. Also, since it's blurred, it's also going to be a lot easier and kind of come more natural to let edges be soft and blended together. Kind of blend as you paint. A really good thing to do, especially at the beginning of a portrait. You can always get tighter and crisper as you go, but good to have some soft edges to play around with. This filter is really helping kind of simplify the mouth. It shows you kind of what's going on, big picture, with it being light here. As it gets to the corners, it gets a little more grayer, a little softer. It's also easy to see that the top lip is a lot darker than the bottom lip. So keep this stuff in mind whenever you go back and paint a normal portrait. Keep an eye out for these things. This filter is helping amplify this. Seeing this good reflected pink light a little bit right here. This is going to help us indicate the edge that chin. Always good to indicate stuff like that, not with lines. A lot of people want to draw lines to indicate the jaw. You don't want to do that. You want to put different value shapes next to each other. Now, starting to see that I should probably move this mouth up a bit. Since we're working these simple shapes, no big deal to wipe it. Right there. Actually take some of this lighter pinkish color, indicate this bottom lip. You can see how I'm cutting back and structuring that top lip by putting in colors around it. There's a little yellow ochre into this. Just blend up into that hair, get a soft hairline. As I get further down around the mouth area, a little yellow ochre, ivory black kind of makes a desaturated green. Always look for more green around the mouth from tiny hairs. Still thinking about drawing here. I'm gonna pop in here real quick and just let you know that if you struggle with color mixing, I actually have the color mixing video from my Foundations of Oil Painting course available for free. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Start pulling out some lighter values, create some form on this light side. Don't want to go too light too fast, but also take notice that as you go down the face, the bright highlights get not as bright. Like up here, it's going to be the brightest, but by the time you get down the chin, like the brightest part in the chin, not that bright because the light is coming from up top. So it's not going to be as strong. It's got to go a further distance to get down to the bottom. This filter is making it easy to see this light area in the corner of the mouth, which happens a lot and is a pretty big deal. Like in the corner here, always keep an eye out for that. A lot of people I see miss that, and just adding that one little highlight can make the biggest difference in your mouth working. So much of painting is just pushing and pulling shapes and kind of reshaping shapes as you go. This filter also helps you with simplifying hair, which a lot of people have trouble with. It takes a lot of restraint to try and not see every little hair. I think I might still need to bring that mouth up a little bit. Old mouth needs to be moved up again. Good thing about painting a mouth 3 times. One paint is by the 3rd time, you're probably pretty good at it. It's such an advantage to know that you can always fix things. Like I did the mouth wrong twice. Yeah, twice. And I just fixed it. And I know I can fix it. So when I'm painting, I'm not scared. Like I'm not painting scared, like, oh, I hope I don't mess up. Like I know I'm gonna mess up. Like except that I can paint pretty freely. So I know I can always fix it. Some paintings need a lot of fixing, some don't. Probably gonna have to move chin up. This isn't a big deal. If I'm gonna have to move something, I'd rather be a chin than like a set of eyes or a whole nose. Sorry if I bounce around too much. It's actually a good lesson. In fact, I bounce around as an indicator of how I'm looking at my painting, which is very important. I'm constantly looking around everything. I try really hard not to stay in one area too long. It helps me catch mistakes before they become big mistakes. Like I was able to catch the mouth because like I was able to build around it, and then that like made me see like, oh, that's off. I need to fix that. Again, some of this bluish purple indicate a little bit of the why are the eyes. This is kind of like my favorite part of painting with it blurred like this is the eyes, because it's really fun just to see how simple, like how much you can get away with painting these eyes, and you get away with a lot. And you should really try when you do your regular portraits to paint them this way. Start very simple and kind of sneak up on them. I think you'll be amazed at how little you need. And also I think I can take my white and yellow ochre and go the brightest just right up here. Speaking of bright highlights, add some red to that, a little bit of cad lemon, get a good lighter value on this lip. I don't want it to be too bright, but I think I can. Man, this filter helps so much to paint this way. A lot of times it's easy to get tricked with this little light triangle. It happens with 3/4 lighting, making that too bright. It's going to look a lot brighter than it really is because it's surrounded by all these shadows. But you can kind of tell here, like values kind of indicated by color in this, since we have the blue, like yellow light. And since this is kind of mainly like a purplish area, it's kind of telling you it's not as bright as say over here is going to be, which I need to make brighter on these cheeks. This filter makes it really easy to see. Even with the eyelid, it's still curved, just like the eyeball, it's spherical and the eyelid's going around it. So this left side of the eyelid is a little darker than this side. It's facing the light. Being able to indicate that is going to help create form, keep it from looking flat. All right, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you want to check out the full version of this painting tutorial, it is available on my Patreon page. And if you want to see what I'm painting on a daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero, here telling you to go get painting.